The insurance company denied my granddaughter's surgery to save money, so I cost them $50 million. The letter arrived on a Friday afternoon. It was thin, white, and printed on cheap paper, but the words inside were heavy enough to crush my family. Dear Mr. Thomas, regarding the request for life-saving cardiac surgery for patient Emily, age 7, denied. Reason? Procedure deemed experimental and not medically necessary. I sat at my kitchen table, my hands shaking, not from sadness, but from rage. My granddaughter, Emily, had a congenital heart defect. Without this surgery, she wouldn't make it to her 8th birthday. The doctors said it was standard procedure, but GlobalCare Insurance said it was unnecessary. Why? Because the surgery cost $200,000, and denying it would boost their quarterly profits by exactly that amount. I called the adjuster, a man named Blake. He sounded bored. He told me, "I'm sorry, sir, it's company policy. The decision is final. The algorithm flagged it." "The algorithm?" I asked. "Yes," Blake said, "our automated review system." Blake made a mistake. He didn't check who he was talking to. He didn't know that for 30 years, I wasn't just a grandfather. I was the head of medical coding and billing for the largest hospital network in Chicago. I wrote the codes that his algorithm was reading. He thought he was denying a claim from a helpless old man. He didn't realize he had just declared war on the only person who knew exactly how to break his system. I didn't just get my granddaughter her surgery. I uncovered a fraud so massive it triggered a federal investigation and cost GlobalCare $50 million in fines. Here is how I used a stack of paper and a knowledge of CPT codes to destroy a corrupt insurance giant. My name is Thomas. I'm 65 years old. To my neighbors, I'm just the guy who mows his lawn on Saturdays and walks his golden retriever. They don't know that my brain is a library of 5,000 medical codes. In the U.S. healthcare system, everything has a code. A broken leg is a code, a heart attack is a code, even a paper cut has a code. These are called CPT codes, current procedural terminology. If you submit the wrong code to an insurance company, they deny payment. It is a game. Doctors try to get paid for their work, and insurance companies try to find typos so they can keep the money. When my son showed me the rejection letter for Emily, I put on my reading glasses. "Dad," my son cried, "they said it's experimental. We can't afford $200,000. We're going to have to sell the house, and even that won't be enough." "Let me see the EOB," I said. The EOB is the explanation of benefits. I scanned the document. The denial wasn't based on medical necessity. It was based on a code mismatch. The surgeon had requested code 33405, aortic valve replacement. GlobalCare had denied it, citing Guideline Policy 78B. I knew Policy 78B. It was an outdated guideline from the 1990s that classified certain non-invasive techniques as experimental. But medicine had advanced. The FDA had approved this specific surgery 10 years ago. It was standard care. GlobalCare was knowingly using an outdated database to auto-deny claims, hoping families would be too scared or uneducated to fight back. I called GlobalCare immediately. I navigated the phone tree for 45 minutes until I got a human. "This is Blake," a voice said. He sounded young, arrogant, and impatient. "Mr. Blake," I said calmly, "I am appealing the denial for claim number 9092. You cited Policy 78B regarding an experimental procedure. However, per the American Medical Association update of 2018, CPT Code 33405 is classified as gold standard. Your denial is factually incorrect." There was silence on the line. Usually, callers cry or scream. They don't quote AMA guidelines. "Look, sir," Blake sighed, "I don't make the rules. The system flagged it. And to overturn an automated denial, you need a peer-to-peer review. That means your doctor has to call our medical director, but our medical director is booked for the next 6 weeks, and I see your surgery is scheduled for next week, so tough luck." "You are delaying care," I said, my voice hardening. "That is acting in bad faith. In the state of Illinois, insurance bad faith carries triple damages." "Are you threatening me?" Blake laughed. "Sir, we are a billion-dollar company. We have a building full of lawyers. Go ahead and sue us. By the time you get a court date, your problem will have resolved itself." He meant my granddaughter would be dead. He hung up. I sat there, listening to the dial tone. He thought he won. He thought power came from money. But in my world, power comes from documentation. I wasn't going to sue him yet. I was going to audit him. I needed to prove that this wasn't a mistake. I needed to prove it was a pattern.
I knew how these automated systems worked. They are programmed with logic filters. If X code costs more than Y dollars, auto-deny. It saves the company millions in administrative costs because they don't have to pay humans to review the files. But under the Affordable Care Act, a human being must review any denial based on medical necessity. If they were using a bot to do a doctor's job, that was fraud. I needed to test the bot. I still had my medical coding certification, and I still had access to a generic provider portal through a consulting gig I did for a small clinic years ago. I decided to run a penetration test. I created 5 fake patient profiles. Patient A, broken arm, code 24500, cost $5,000. Patient B, flu shot, code 90630, cost $50. Patient C, heart surgery, code 33405, the same as Emily's, cost $200,000. Patient D, brain surgery, code 16150, cost $150,000. Patient E, routine checkup, cost $200. I submitted these pre-authorization requests to GlobalCare's portal at 2 a.m. on a Sunday. No human doctor is working at 2 a.m. on a Sunday to review claims. I watched the screen. Patient B, flu shot, approved, instantly. Patient E, checkup, approved, instantly. Then came the big ones. Patient C, heart surgery, status, reviewing. 3 seconds later, denied. Reason, medical necessity. It was impossible. No human can read a 50-page medical history file, review X-rays, and make a medical necessity determination in 3 seconds. The timestamp proved it. The decision was made by a machine. I took screenshots. I downloaded the server logs showing the response times. But I needed more. I needed to know who was signing the denials. Every denial letter must be signed by a medical director. I looked at Emily's letter, signed by Dr. Richard H. Smith. I looked at the fake Patient C denial, signed by Dr. Richard H. Smith. I looked at the fake Patient D denial, signed by Dr. Richard H. Smith. Dr. Smith was a very busy man. He was reviewing complex surgeries in 3 seconds at 2 a.m. on a Sunday. I searched for Dr. Richard H. Smith on LinkedIn. I found him. He was indeed the medical director for GlobalCare, but his profile said he was semi-retired and living in the Bahamas. I checked his activity. He posted a photo on Facebook 10 minutes ago. He was on a boat holding a fish. He wasn't reviewing claims. He was fishing. The company was using his digital signature to rubber stamp thousands of auto denials while paying him a salary to do nothing. This wasn't just bad faith. This was criminal negligence. This was practicing medicine without a license by a computer. I had the gun. Now I needed the bullets. I needed to record Blake admitting that he knew about the auto denial scheme. I picked up the phone. I wasn't going to call customer service this time. I was going to call Blake's direct line, and I was going to offer him a deal he couldn't refuse.
I called Blake's direct line at 4:30 p.m. on a Friday. I knew this was the time he would be mentally checking out, thinking about his weekend and likely careless. I set my phone to speaker and turned on my high-fidelity recorder. "This is Blake," he answered, sounding annoyed. "Mr. Blake, this is Thomas again, regarding claim 9092. Before you hang up, I want you to look at a new claim I just uploaded to your portal, claim 9099. "I don't have time for this," Blake sighed. Claim 9099 was for a brain surgery submitted at 2 a.m. on Sunday, I said quickly. It was denied in 3 seconds by Dr. Richard Smith. I checked Dr. Smith's social media. He was fishing in the Bahamas at that exact moment. Now, Blake, I know you understand what insurance fraud is. There was a long silence on the line. I could hear him shifting in his chair. "Who are you?" Blake asked, his voice losing its arrogance. "I'm a retired medical coding director," I said, "and I have logs of 5 fake claims denied by your algorithm instantly. I have screenshots of Dr. Smith's vacation, and I have the recording of our last call where you threatened me." "Listen, old man," Blake hissed, "you don't know who you are messing with. The algorithm is proprietary. It's industry standard." "Is it standard to have a doctor sign denials he never reads? That is a felony, Blake. Practicing medicine without a license by a computer program. And since you are the regional manager, you are complicit." "It's not my fault," Blake snapped, cracking under the pressure. "Corporate set the parameters. They told us to tune the rejection rate to 30% to meet quarterly targets. I just manage the team. Dr. Smith just lends his digital signature for a monthly fee. It's how the business works. Everyone does it." Got him. He just admitted it was a quota. He admitted the doctor was a sham. He admitted it was all for profit. "Thank you, Blake. That's all I needed to hear." "Wait, are you recording this?" he shouted. "That's illegal. Illinois is a 2-party consent state." "Actually," I said, looking at a map on my wall, "I drove across the border to Indiana this morning to make this call. Indiana is a 1-party consent state. The recording is admissible in court. Have a nice weekend." I hung up. My hands were steady now. I had the smoking gun. I didn't go to the police. The police don't understand CPT codes. I went to Goldman & Weiss, the most aggressive class-action law firm in Chicago. I sat in the boardroom with the senior partner, Mr. Weiss. I played the tape. I showed him the server logs. Weiss listened, stone-faced. When the tape ended, a slow smile spread across his face. "Thomas," he said, "this isn't just about your granddaughter. If they used this algorithm on you, they used it on everyone. We are looking at thousands of wrongfully denied patients. This is a RICO case. This is massive." The next morning, Goldman & Weiss filed a class-action lawsuit against GlobalCare Insurance for systematic fraud and racketeering. They also filed an emergency injunction to approve Emily's surgery. GlobalCare tried to fight it. They sent a team of 20 lawyers. They tried to bury us in motions, but the discovery phase killed them. Because of my evidence, the judge ordered GlobalCare to turn over their internal emails regarding the algorithm. And there it was, an email from the CEO to the IT director. "Turn up the rejection sensitivity on high-cost cardiac procedures. We are missing our Q3 earnings target by $10 million. It was black and white. They were denying children heart surgeries to boost their stock price. The media got hold of it. It was on CNN, Fox, MSNBC, the algorithm of death. GlobalCare stock plummeted 40% in 1 week. Blake was fired publicly to save face. Dr. Richard Smith was stripped of his medical license, but the company couldn't escape. They knew if this went to a jury trial, they would lose billions. They settled. GlobalCare agreed to pay a settlement of $50 million to the victims, But more importantly, as part of the emergency injunction, they were forced to fully cover Emily's surgery immediately with no copay and no deductible. The surgery took place 2 weeks later. It was 6 hours long. I sat in the waiting room with my son, holding his hand. When the surgeon came out and gave us the thumbs up, I finally broke down. I hadn't cried during the rejection or the investigation or the lawsuit, but knowing she was going to live, that broke me. Emily is 8 years old now. She plays soccer. She has a scar on her chest, but she calls it her zipper. As for me, as the lead plaintiff and the whistleblower who provided the key evidence, I received a service award from the class action settlement. It was a check for $2 million. I put half of it into a trust fund for Emily's college. I donated the other half to a legal defense fund that helps patients fight insurance denials. I still live in my quiet house. I still mow my lawn on Saturdays. But every time I get a piece of mail from an insurance company, I smile because they know my name now. And Blake, I heard he is working as a used car salesman in Ohio. I hope he checks the engines better than he checked my background. If you are fighting an insurance company right now, don't give up. They rely on you being tired. They rely on you being scared. But remember, their power is just on paper, and paper can burn. Read your policy, check the codes, and if they deny you, fight back. Thanks for watching. If you want to learn more about how to decode your medical bills, check the link in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of justice.